Welcome to our program On Target. Our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, anywhere in the Caribbean, any part of the world that the technology affords you the opportunity to get our program, welcome to our program. And we always encourage you to share our program and like our program. And even if you disagree with some aspects of the program, we encourage you to share it with others and discuss it. We want healthy discussion come from the program. We promise to walk around with the truth and to provoke discussion. We believe that we could have a better country, a better Caribbean region, if we pool our resources together and we address the challenges that face us. We must always be a people seeking solution. Even if we seek justice, it must be justice with compassion. We must never advocate vengeance. We must never advocate vigilante justice. We must always seek justice with compassion. And remember, we ought to be a forgiving people. That's what Christianity advocates. And all of us, or the vast majority of Grenadians, ascribe to the Christian principles. The number to call is 442-0175. You have to use WhatsApp. The hurricane have destroyed our system in the heights. So we have difficulties getting 91.9 back on the ground. It'll take some time to do that. We encourage you to share our program, and those of you who could help the elderly ones with the technology. Quite a lot of people have phone, but they need help with the technology. Sometimes I am assisted greatly by a little grandchild in primary school, able to assist me with the technology. We must not be afraid to engage the younger ones. We have to work together as a people, the old and the young. It is not part of our culture, but we have to work together. Today we want to make an appeal to the parliamentary representative of Maribo. We're asking you, please, to return the property you took from our little sister from Ticolo. You promise her that you will return it. Or you promise her you will give her another piece of property anywhere in Grenada. And she agreed with that. She shed tears to know it's you that had done that to her. She remembered the days when you sat on the same bench with her in school. Both of you came from the same socioeconomic strata. Your parents was poor as church mice. You sat on the same bench. You giggle, you laugh, you were friends. And then you take that which she even did not have. You take her land away from her. She has begged you. She begged you. She plead with you. You make her walk up and down the road. She gave you back the receipts that she paid. You have a copy of it. And the parliamentary representative have a track record of keeping records. So you know. Give her back the land. She still poor like church mice. Tears come to her eyes every time she speak about it. Give her back the land. She never could have believed that you would have done that to her. I appeal to the Minister of Agriculture to help to facilitate the process. I understand you and the parliamentary representative from Maribo is riding B. I promise I go compliment you publicly. If you do that, a good you do to the ordinary man. You might consider as a commoner, a classless. But she paid money towards the land. She have the receipts. She gave you the receipt she paid. Some of them was lost when her family house was burned down to the ground. Please, I beg you, the parliamentary representative of Maribor, give her back the land you promised to give her. You took it away from her, and you promised to give her back. She can't believe you could have done that to her. She said, we sat on the same bench. We were two of the poorest in the class. We come from the same socioeconomic grouping. Revolutionaries would have said, we are proletariats. Give her back the land. We must seek justice with compassion. She have patience. She been to a lawyer, but she don't have money to pay the lawyer. And these lawyers doesn't work for poor Bruno. Poor Bruno. I think that is the word. When lawyers do charitable thing, they have a special legal word calling it poor Bruno. They won't do it for her. She is the poor of the poor. They may not feel they could achieve anything. So I beg you, the parliamentary representative of Maribor, give her back the land you took away from her. This is trying times in Grenada for a number of people. But we must be a people of hope. And as such, we must prepare to do things better and achieve more. Yesterday we spent some time on education. We must never take education lightly. The days when you need strong men and women, physically strong men and women, are practically over. Machine, robots, drills. Nowadays, the carpenters and skilled men hardly using hammer. They want drill, electric cutters, air gun. So the job market is changing from one of unskilled labor to one of skilled labor and talents. And we must rise to the occasion. When you go to the airport now, I understand you have to be able to read computer that's speaking to you. So you have to be able to read and to become. We ought to do better. And it makes no sense we throwing our hands up in the air and look for a fairy godmother or godfather. None is coming. We had the British here for 1,000 years. They seek their interests. Now we're trying to sell out ourselves to the Chinese. They too is seeking their interests. And nothing's wrong with that. We must seek our interests. We have to lobby. I say that because we have organizations in our country, particularly the Nutmeg Association and the Cocoa Association. They have not done justice to the farmer. The majority of farmers believe they have not even tried. We have had a hurricane that passed, and it has damaged principally 3 parishes: Carriacou and Pitimatnik, St. Patrick's and St. Andrews principally. In Carriacou, great damage have been done to the housing stock. In St. Patrick's, great damage has been done to agriculture. In St. Andrews, serious damage has been done to agriculture. The majority of the country is intact, and the economy has not been damaged. So we are not on our knees. We are not on our knees. And yes, caller, welcome. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre. How are you? Afternoon, Mr. Pierre. How are you doing?
Great, man.
Mr. Pierre, I don't want to ask your age here, but can you recall how many years now was it since Hurricane Janet? And what year it was in?
1955.
Right, the 22nd of September
1955.
So this year, the 22nd of September, right? So this year is going to be around 69 years. Yeah. Can you recall who was the leader of the country at that time when Hurricane Janet passed?
In 1955?
Have you seen any pictures? Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen any pictures of such?
No.
Because apparently, I'm coming forward. In 2004, like I keep trying to say to the people that are not listening and understanding, both NMPites and NDCites in the diaspora, because apparently they're not understanding what is happening here. In 2004, the 6th of September, when Hurricane Ivan hit, there wasn't no big set of presence with Facebook. There wasn't no big set of presence with YouTube. There wasn't even WhatsApp. So what was happening then was the news channels that was there at the time. I think it was Channel 6, Cable Vision Channel 6. We had cable at the time, and Channel 11. I didn't think Maitland was even running as powerful as yet to show all these things. So obviously, you would not have been seeing the rescue effort of what been happening those times there in 2004, 2005, Emily. Mr. Pierre, I've been through Ivan. I was working through a company, a very big company in Grenada, and I was back at work the Monday after Ivan. We had water. We didn't have current. That company was using a generator. This country came back because we are resilient. We work together. The bad thing, what happened in Ivan, was the looting. Had it not been for the looting, the country would have been back on its feet a little bit faster because we had no problem for food. The looting was a problem, right? Now, in 2004, it would have been 49 years since Hurricane Janet. So it would have been a surprise to Grenadians because we have no understanding of what the hurricane would have been like, the power of it, the magnitude of it, because some of us wasn't even born yet when Ivan passed. So nobody understand what was happening there. But here you have a government that have all the resources. They have the social, they supposed to have the connections, and they in office to run the country and to get resources. I'm hearing, oh, the Prime Minister, when he traveled, this is what he was doing. So you tell me, the Prime Minister traveled to all these galas, Saudi Arabia, you see Saudi Arabia in Grenada yet? And you see Canada in Grenada yet? All I've seen is Ghana. When I say Grenada, I mean Carriacou, Grenada, and Pitimatnik. No, this is what regional leaders do. They will assist you like they did in 2004 and 2005. There was Venezuelans here, there was Cubans here, there was Trini here, there was Jamaicans here. What is the big deal with this hoopla about? Oh, that was the man was trying about. You now have in your possession an insurance money from insurance that the former Prime Minister actually signed on to make sure that we would have been in a better place had another disaster happened. This Prime Minister, he was in a press conference when he was asked about this same funds, if I could recall, and he was saying, are we praying for a disaster or do we want to feed our people? Mr. Pierre, can you recall that?
I think I heard that.
A lot of people, you understand, a lot of people is not listening to what this gentleman is saying. It's all good, you could be there, you have to be there. You're the leader. But come on, for the naive one, it is annoying right now that, oh, we seen him over there and he's there. Mr. Pierre, right now people are asking for materials and the material prices are too high. Do you guys remember in 2011? Let me refresh your memory. In 2011, there was a finance minister that was building a house and all they can't do that. You know what he did? He put zero tax on building items. Do you remember that, Mr. Pierre?
Was for 1 year, I think.
For 1 year. Was for 1 year. When he saw his finished bill, the tax went back up. I hope you remember that because that was under Tillman Thomas government and NEC government. So when you're talking and you're all there on a live and you're all in America, yes, you're all Grenadians, yes, you're all Carriacou, yes, you're all from Peter Martin. But when you're not living here for the last 20 odd years and don't know what is happening on the ground, get your facts straight and stop listening to propaganda. Because right now, what is happening is that people are calling from Carriacou. And when people call radio programs, people have other programs saying, oh, they're lying and them is NMP this and NMP that. My God, let people live their story. Let it give their story because, Mr. Pierre, I have not been to Carriacou. And I will not call and try to put myself in what the people going through or what they see. I can only say what I see on TV. And I can give my experience from Ivan and Emily. And it wasn't easy. So I know my roof was gone in Ivan. I was out of a roof all the way till the year after. So I know. People who don't own a home, who was not in a house when this thing was happening, they wouldn't know. So I empathize with everybody that's been through and still going through this trauma. And I know what it is. But for somebody to be on radio and on Facebook and saying, oh, well, look, the Prime Minister traveling and this is what you're traveling for. Bull crap. Well, let's stop it and stop it now. Mr. Pierre, have a good afternoon.
Yes, and I mean, you're going to find that because a lot of the strong, militant politicos of the NDC find themselves stuck like rainstorm. Some of the things that this government has done, they cannot defend it. They have no explanation for it. So you're going to expect them to duck, to hide, and to throw low blows. They cannot defend the government plundering the GDP bank. No one of them could defend that. They cannot defend the fact that it seems, yes, caller, welcome. You have to cut down the radio. You have to load on the radio. You have to load on the radio. Caller, you have to load on the radio when you call, otherwise you will be waiting. When for you to be speaking, you will be waiting. Caller is still on? Right, so you have to load on the radio when you call, otherwise, and listen to us on the phone. We're well aware that other people may want to hear, but you have to load on the radio and listen to us on the phone. Otherwise, you're going to hear the echo, the background sound, because we have a delayed broadcasting. So my heart goes out to the political activists of NDC. The NDC is doing some dumb things. I don't know where the Prime Minister getting this ramgoat advice. For him to plunder the GDP bank, that have to be ramgoat advice. We don't know who is the third person that sent him. Because there definitely seems to be someone else beside the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister dictating our foreign affairs. That is a criminal act. It is sacrilege. Your foreign affairs is most important in your independence. And 50 years after independence, for us to have a third party, and we don't know who is directing our foreign affairs, is a shame, is a disgrace, and is a blunder. And the NDC political activists cannot defend that. They cannot defend it. It's sad. The Prime Minister iffy attitude on the reopening of school is unacceptable. The Prime Minister have to say school will be open. It will be open. And if you don't know how, inform the principals to immediately make preparation for the opening of school, and they could be creative and unorthodox. Whether they have to use tent, whether they have to use Zoom, whether every class in the school have to be in a different area, whether there is maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, schools must open. You don't joke with that. And yesterday I said the children of Form 3, Form 4, and Form 5 should be organizing teams to go around and assist the people in the community. That is an act of showing compassion, of developing empathy. These children are 13 years and over. That's a war, a battle. They have energy. It is therapeutic. And if you don't believe me, ask any psychologist. Ask any psychologist if that is not better than having them locked up in the house. Don't know what the future holds. The Prime Minister might have to wake up the Minister of Education, the Permanent Secretary, and the Chief Education from their slumber. And I do hope the ministers that visit Grenada, I do hope that you have enough sense to tell Dick Mitchell to wake up. 2 parishes that have been extensively damaged. Wake up. You're not as bad as you seem. You have enough in-house financial assistance. You expect assistance from Caribbean and others. Stop playing cry baby. That is what we need to do at this time. We have a history what was done 20 years ago, both in Ivan and Emily. We could go back and look at the mistakes we make and strengthen where we make mistakes and do things better. You're not starting from scratch. In Ivan, the whole country was damaged. Now your economic base is there. You slow. Agriculture is supposed to be more decisive and effective. The time has come, we can't wait. Our food and nutrition people, I feel ashamed, you know. I always have years in the schoolhouse teaching people to cook. In a crisis, what do you cook? People begging for food. Our food and nutrition people should be teaching our students how to prepare potato leaf and yam leaf and palm leaf and shukako and munga. How to prepare that. These are things that could grow easily here. How to prepare. Our children should know that. How to pickle cucumbers. After they go to school for 3 odd years, say they're doing cookery. In a crisis, they're crying for macaroni and tin stuff. That is what you do. You train your people so that irrespective of what the condition is, they could operate. So we have cooks now, they put their hand up in the air. They see macaroni. We don't get corned beef. We don't get rice. We don't get flour. We ain't get tin stuff. We have to prepare to do things better. And our leaders must see themselves as a special squad to guide us in times of hardship, in times of disaster, in times of battle. They can run. The leaders of government are hiding. The Ministry of Education is hiding. Food and nutrition people perhaps they shame. After all these years, where is the creativity? How does cooking reflect our culture? How does it reflect food sustainability? We have fish in the sea. The fish in the river is scarce. We have crayfish in the river and we have fish in the sea. The Japanese say we have more fish in the sea dying of old age than what we hold in. After hurricane passed 3-4 days after, if your boat was not destroyed, you could go back fishing. And it's only the boat in Carriacou and St. Patrick's that destroyed. Those in Grenville and Guava, and most of them are safe. We ought to do better as a people. You have too much people in organization that are not functioning. They sit down there just for the name. Inagma. Or GDB Bank being a rubber stamp, so that you could provide loan for the directors and for the ministers. We ought to do better as a people. And our leaders have to recognize that to whom much is given, much is expected. They're well paid. They're well paid. They don't expect to work. And that's the challenges that we have. And those of you who feel upset because when you say something, you're attacked, remember, we have a democratic process. And you're going to find the supporters of NDC, even though this government is an embarrassment to them, they're going to do their utmost to defend the government. And nothing is wrong with that. So if they praise Deacon, leave them alone. Nothing is wrong with that. Don't waste time bothering with that. Just stick with the truth. When the truth comes to tongue, people just hide. That is why you cannot hear the mouthpiece of a lot of the NDC's leaders. They're afraid to speak. Even the minister is afraid to speak. They have practiced to tell lies so much that every time they open their mouth, they're lying. And sometimes I feel sorry for them. I feel very sorry for members of the NDC because they have pushed themselves in a corner where they're stuck like rainstorm. And this perhaps should be a guide for us in Grenada. We have to try to speak the truth. When we are dealing with our people, tell them the truth. Be as compassionate as possible. But explain to our people the truth, and you may surprise how much they respect you. Don't tell lies with them. Let our children in school know the truth. From 3, from 4, and from 5. These people are about 13, 14 years and over. They are the men and women of tomorrow. Most of them they are already biologically ready. They could face the truth. Those in Carriacou now, encourage them to bind themselves into small group, 3 to 5 of them, sit down in a house and identify or sit with pen and paper all the people in their village, whether it is Winwood or Bialo, Dover, Hermitage, whichever community, Grand Bay, all the people, they know the people in the community. And let them visit the people. You're surprised to know they might make a joke with one of them and create laughter a sense of humor. They may sing for some. They may offer them some water. They may help change the pampers. They may clean the place for one of them. That act alone is therapeutic. It helps them understand the impact of the hurricane, and it put them in a positive mood to go forward. You cannot leave them inside, wallowing in depression. So ask the permanent secretary and the chief education officer to hold a meeting with other seniors and send out these children. They may say a word of prayer for some. Some of the elderly may just want them pray with them. The children would be better off for doing that. And if they do, you might avoid them later on calling people classless and using the word so-called vulnerable, because they would have had an experience after the hurricane that would live with them all their life. And they would know, irrespective of our material achievement, how vulnerable we are. They would recognize that all of us is good people. Send them in the field. That is therapeutic. You don't have to believe me. Ask any medical doctor, any nurse you see. The Minister of Education should know that. What happened to them? They believe they're in a different class. We don't have ethnicity here. We don't have issue with race. But the National Democratic Congress always believe that they're in a higher social rank. And that is why they have this hostile attitude towards people in the lower income group. So that experience of the hurricane is a great teacher. So please, encourage your children in Form 3, Form 4, and Form 5. Some 1 and 2s go join them. Go out. The young, go out to the elderlies and bring hope for them. Visit them. Spend 10 minutes with them. Chat with them. Perhaps they may want to say a prayer. Say a prayer with them. Sing for them. Maybe they might want you to help them hold a sheep. And maybe they might want you to give them some water. Or they may want you to help change their pampers. That experience would make you a better person. You want to remember it all your life. Don't let our children wallow in depression. Send them out. Send them out. As how Jesus Christ sent out the apostles. Beautiful opportunity for them to learn compassion. For them to learn humility. For them to learn to empathize. The boys would have more respect. We have a lot of young men that are very disrespectful. But if you get your young son to visit the hospitals and visit the sick in the community, it has a remarkable impact on them. When they help to change the pampers of an elderly man, or give him some water to drink, or just help him, they in turn benefit more from that act than the elderly. We have become the NDC is a very insensitive group. Perhaps perhaps my brother Tevin Anjo should go and do some voluntary work in the home for the aged. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes.
I had a call back. You're talking about the school children, and you know it just dawned onto me that the majority of all the schools in Carriacou has been damaged. Now, this is the recess time for school, July to August, September. But as you rightly said, the Minister of Education and the Prime Minister and those in social development, they're not coming forward and give a solution, neither the teachers union. Now, schools in Grenada, I remember after Ivan, schools in Grenada was on attendance in Old Trafford. I remember some schools was taking in, some other schools that wasn't damaged was taking in students, and some students was going abroad to other Caribbean islands that wasn't even prisoners from Grenada was in other Caribbean islands. So we talking about Carriacou with how much people? What, 2,000, 4,000 people?
7,000 people.
Right, 7,000 people.
Maybe 2,000 children.
And 2,000 children. You telling me that you can't come up with a plan right now? The Ministry of Education, the Prime Minister's office, the teachers union, all these people can't come up with a comprehensive plan right now. So when schools open back, there's a smooth rollout so the children can at least get back to some sense of normality in their thing.
The teachers union looking for green blood.
They both about they send on. You see, the thing that this government is making priority, that is what government is supposed to do. Like for instance, you say you send on some elderly citizens, great, fine, from the homes. That is what government is supposed to do. That's not something that you're doing because you feel you can do it. That is something that you have to do. So government, these guys are getting either doing people a favor, and this is what angers some people. You people are not doing anybody a favor. And for those who don't know, to your mouthpiece, NDC's in office, you all have 9 people at 1 seat convincingly, and you all borrow 1.
Caller.
So you have 10.
Caller.
NDC's in office, not an MP.
My brother, hear this one. The government should have immediately called back some retired policemen and used some of the young police to join the brigade to help in housing. Call back some of the
Mr.
retired policemen and use some of the young police.
Mr. Pierre, I just follow regional news, and I want to share too far. Look what is happening in Trinidad. For the last weekend, there was 4 triple murders in Trinidad. 4 triple murders, like senseless killing. The commissioner of police called back all police in it. Each and every man who on holiday, come back. You telling me that this prime minister, he's seen what been happening. I sure the prime minister was in Grenada in 2000. Well, he probably wasn't in Grenada, but he must have seen what happened in 2004. He must have seen what happened in 2005. There was enough information there for you not to be prepared for what is happening now. You are hearing people in Carriacou saying they want food, they want building materials. No. For those who are saying that, remember, after a hurricane, you have to rebuild. You still have to live, you still have to eat. So those that saying don't enough food, probably you're storing food up with food. Mr. Pierre, I remember right here in Grenada, I want to call the company name. A couple of days after Ivan, that company called out for people to come and get the meat that was in the coolers and ice cream and stuff. That happened in Tempe. And let it doubt that. Who wasn't in Grenada? I don't know. I know that because I was working right next door. And they was giving out all the meat. Mr. Pierre, we learned to pickle chicken. We learned to steam chicken. We learned the salt chicken. It's what we do because it was survival at the time. I get a generator and I was good where I was at home. This government needs to be proactive in what they're doing and stop victimizing. Mr. Pierre, I remember again, and lastly, I remember again, during the COVID, in 2020, the same union of teachers was on go slow and say walk the rule. You understand? It was under a different president, but the same union. That teachers union and them strike illegally so, and they lost in court. This government paid them back. So why now? They can't pay us back and say, okay, they'll come up with a comprehensive approach. Because during COVID, when Minister Steele was giving that information to save lives, you have people NDC mouthpiece on the radio saying, oh, this COVID is not real and spreading propaganda. Now they're saying that any people put their radio and spreading propaganda and they want to call NTRC and they want to shut down radio stations. Or they forget all this people working in housing, or they forget what you all do. Mr. Pierre, I don't forget. Have a good afternoon.
Yes, I think the government should immediately abandon restorative justice policy, disband the Department for Political Mischief, recall the recent retired policemen for 6 months, use the last trained police, the last group of trained police to assist in the cleaning up program in Carriacou, because they would be better able to live a camp life or to live under tents. With immediate effect, use the Form 4s and 5s and 3s as a sociological study to go out and assist the elderly and make certain on a daily basis that they communicate with them. Some of them might want some water. Some of them might just want something to drink. Immediately call on all principals and tell them to submit a plan how school would be open, using creative and unorthodox method, including the use of tents, and to remain under trees, even if the amount of hours they have to do that is limited. And they can use Zoom where it's possible. Immediately set up a reward in terms of prize money for a child in a school that come up with the best piece of art, the best poem, the best drawing, the best essay, reflecting their understanding and impact of the hurricane. In that way, you get your children to deal with the traumatic impact. Now you must have a government that thinks. One of the problems with our intelligentsia, they are not thinkers. They are regurgitators. You have a lot of them in the Democratic Party, you know. They're not thinkers. They're regurgitators. Now you need thinkers. So go to the principals and ask the principals, submit within 3 days a program how you're going to return to school, and let them know they could be creative and unorthodox and unorthodox. Every time we have a crisis, the best of us is realized. When you have devastation, people see how they go make money. People invent things in crisis. I think it was penicillin that was invented in World War I. So much of wounds, so much of rotting flesh, that penicillin was invented in World War I. Now is an opportunity for us to see what is, well, you don't have ideas. So show these ideas by Comrade Ray and Brother Willie. And if they say it's good ideas, take it. I know you won't take it from on target. And I can't get my partner, culture man, to call to say if it's a good idea or not. So show it by Comrade Ray and my brother Willie. Two well-respectable individuals. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome. All right, we lost that caller. Try again. We have to do better. We must be a thinking people on our feet. That is why Kit Mitchell is so successful. Kit is a thinker. The best of Kit is in crisis. That's why he was able to win election on 3 occasions and win all the seats. Because he's a thinker. He come up with answers. Now you must take some advice. You line. So you might have to get some suggestions. And I know you won't take a suggestion from me. I'm an ordinary rustic. So show it by Comrade Willie and Brother Ray. And if they say, well, he ain't so bad, take it. That if they say he ain't so bad, that means he real good. Abandon restorative justice. Disband the Department of Political Mischief. Recall recent retired policemen for 6 months. And that would give you a respite. You would have room now to use the last trained police. Send them to Carriacou. So they're going to help in cleanup. They're going to help in rebuilding. In that, they are better able to live camp life than ordinary Grenadians. Oh, God. Make a call to Form 4 and Form 5s and Form 3 in Carriacou. And let them go and visit the elderly, the sick. Don't abandon them. Don't abandon the elderly. You see, where the elderly is concerned, we have to be extremely concerned about NDC. NDC like to abandon the elderly, the physically challenged and disadvantaged children. You will be shooting 2 birds with 1 stone. Because the next generation of leaders going to have compassion in their heart. They're going to show more empathy. They would have a practical experience working with the elderly. Send them out. They must not sit down and wallow in depression. In the meantime, have a challenge outside there for the best piece of art, the best poem, the best song, the best essay. Have it in Carriacou. Have it in St. Patrick's in Grenada. So you get a whole set of writings and we could publish it. Who knows? You might get some authors. You might get some calypsonians. You might get stand-up comedians from the schoolhouse. You cannot, you ought not to, you should not. You must not let our children wallow in depression. The Minister of Education is not a thinker. The Permanent Secretary perhaps is a joke. And the Chief Education Officer, perhaps, I don't know, he have to be sleeping. So you do that. So although you have a crisis, your children, their minds will be active. They'll be part of the solution. The actions they are taking is therapeutic. Let them write essays. Let them write songs. Let them write poems. Let them write joke and jest. Some of them might say, they see the wind blowing and the galvanized tie up the telephone post. It might be a joke. It might create laughter. Rather than you have sad, unhappy people, let us use the disaster and take the positive out of it. We must be a thinking group. That is my greatest fear with the NDC, you know. We choose a group of political neophytes that greedy and they preoccupy with living luxurious life at the expense of the poor. So now they're stuck like rainstorm. So you have to wake them from their slumber and advise them what to do. You cannot have a program of political mischief in a disaster. You should not. So abandon restorative justice. Disband the department that is set up for political mischief. Recall recent retired police officers. A lot of them young. Some of them retired because of the pension issue. Some of them, well, if you don't want to take back those NNP those perceived to be NNP. Take back those NDC one. And in that way, it gives you room to remove the trainees now and the younger police, to remove them from the street and send them in Carriacou to help in the cleaning up and rebuilding process. They're going to love that experience too. And they would be better able to adjust to camp life than just taking Grenadians from down here and bring up. They will be better able to adjust to camp life. They're better able to live under tent. And while you're doing that, you have all the children in Bishop College, and I don't know what is the name of the other school. I think it's 2 secondary schools in Carriacou, Bishop College and something else. Use the children in Form 3, Form 4, and Form 5. And set up immediately, well, you don't want to call it a competition or whatever, but the best piece of writings, essays, songs, poem, art, joke, and give them $1,000. Put a nice, attractive financial package. You don't want to be money alone. It could be a computer. It could be 10-sheeter galvanized. It could be a book. It could be cash. So that the children will be interested in doing it and they will do it. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hi. A
Yes,
pleasant day to all the listeners out there. I want to talk about a voice note that I see treading on social media about this CCRIF fund. Now, in 2007, the World Bank and other financial institutions decided to set up
Somebody that you're low and you're breaking up.
insurance fund and invited. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
All right. They invited countries in the Caribbean and Central America that's prone to hurricane to insure in that fund. Grenada in 2007 was the very, very first country to join that insurance fund. 2008, there was an election and the NDC got into power. I heard in this voice note that someone claimed to be Anthony Boson, making some ridiculous false statements about a release that was issued by the NNP saying that the release is dishonest. There's nothing dishonest about the release. The truth and the fact is, it was the CCRF officials who congratulated Grenada when they were handed over the check. And they said when they handed over the check, it took the political will and courage on behalf of Grenada to join that fund in 2007. That came about as a result of the disaster that took place and the destruction that took place in the Tri-Island state. Now, what the video or the voice clip is trying to do is to minimize the contribution that was made by others. And I have some serious problems with that. The host of the other program went further. He said we didn't get nothing because we have much more damage than that. And I think that is ridiculous. We were insured. We complained that the stadium was not insured. And now the whole of Grenada was insured. And it was a good insurance policy. We insured for heavy rainfall. We insured for sea surge. We insured for Green Lake and Nawassa. And it doesn't matter how much you feel about somebody, how much you feel about someone. When someone have done something good, we should be man enough to stand up and say, job well done. We thank you for that. So I just want to add my voice to that and say to the host of this program, we need to verify information first. We just can't run with things like that. And the damage was done because the contents of that voice was put out there to the listeners and asking them to vote to see who should get credit. And if we're going to disavow and disallow the voice and say it's not Anthony Boson, we must also tell the listeners out there that the statements that were made under Anthony Boson's name is false, and that also should be disallowed. So it is not just saying it's not Anthony Boson. We must go back to the listeners and say, look, the contents of that statement is false and inaccurate. It was in 2007, the government of Grenada then joined that fund. And hence the reason why today we are getting $118 million plus the $9 million for Greenlake and Nawasa and what have you. We must give Jack his jacket. And we must, it's the same thing that they're doing to Uncle Gary. They're trying their best to minimize Uncle Gary's contribution. They went as far as to commingling Uncle Gary's face on a $50 anniversary note with Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop had nothing to do with our independence. It is that type of things that cause us today not to have a hero. Because any time someone have done something good, if they are not to our political liking, we try to cast shades on them, and we must stop that. I thank you very much, my brother.
Yes, my brother. Remember, Studio Galaxy available as soon as you return. Yeah. Yes, and I think that is a very important point made. And I don't know why the National Democratic Congress is doing that. Deacon made one of the most dishonest statements made was when Deacon said nothing has not been achieved since 1983. I thought it was one of the most dishonest statements made by him. And then he continued to tell lies as when horse-trotting. Every time that was an expression used by the people of yesteryear. The boy lying as when horse-trotting. And they objected to people telling lies. And we too must object to leaders telling lies. We must be very concerned when we find greedy leaders that want to plunder the treasury of our country. We must be very concerned. We must be very concerned when our leaders want to distort the truth, and they do not hesitate to trick the elderly, the weak, and the youths. And we want to plead again with the government to take the necessary action to be an inclusive government and unite this country. Thank you very much. Today is the final day of the week for On Target. On Target will join Master Call tomorrow on the extension. Thank you very much.